Shantihi Harihi Om. I welcome you all for another session of this Bhagavad Gita. And this, as I always say, it is telecasted from Arsha Vidya Gurukulam here. And it has been going on along with Hindu Temple of Allentown, Hindu Temple Society of Allentown, very successfully. And we are online these days. So everyone can partake in this Jnana Yajna. So, speaking of Jnana Yajna, this fourth chapter which we are looking currently, it is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa. So, Karma Sannyasa, sannyasa of karma, not physically, sannyasa of karma with knowledge. What knowledge? Karmanya karmayah pashyet. The knowledge of seeing Atma Akarta, free from all limitations, free from Papa Punya, has been always like this. It is not that I am saying this to make you feel better. It is not I am saying this to wash off our account balance of omissions and commissions and all that. That is all there. We work in spite of all the Dvaita experiences, in spite of all what we are trying to do better. Our own Swarupa is Akarta. In fact, that is why maybe once we accomplish something, we feel that we have done something and now we can relax. So whenever our pravritti is whenever our transactions, whenever whatever we do, when we feel that we have done it very well, that we feel that relaxation, that nivritti, that nivarana, because of our swarupa being akarta, our swarupa being shantata. And in fact, maybe that is why there is something called a retirement. Okay, so this is the reality about ourselves. This is our own self. Now, when the last session we did Brahmarpanam Brahmavihi, Brahmagnav Brahmanahutam, right? So, and then in that shloka we did, definitely we did enough of discussion for us to think about. And if someone is not able to appreciate Brahmarpanam Brahmavihi, Arpana is Brahma, Havihi is Brahma, Agnihi, in which the ahuti, the offering is given, is also Brahma. Brahmanahutam. Brahma is the karta. Karta in the sense, whatever the karya karana sanghata, whatever the instrument which is being employed is also Brahma. So when I say like this, it is very hard to appreciate. Why? Because this is a shloka of a vision of a jnani. So it is very natural that we are unable to appreciate completely, but we keep parroting. We see sab brahma hai karke, we keep saying that, right? I mean, with some shraddha and bhakti, we say that. Shraddha in the Shastra Vakya and bhakti in our Shastra Karta, Bhagavan Ishvara, right? With that we keep saying. But let me put the shloka in slightly different way so we are able to appreciate. Arpana is Brahma, we said, right? Without Brahma, no Arpana. Without Brahma, no Havihi. Without Brahma, no Agnihi. So, in the presence of Brahma, all these have their meaning, sarthata. So, when you say without this Brahma, this is all not possible, then you're able to appreciate, right? So, the headmaster in the school or the principal or headmaster may not be really going and taking any classes, but Without the headmaster, no scheduling. Without the headmaster, no classes. Without the headmaster, no school, no timing, no timetable. So we can go on saying like that. Like that, in the presence of Brahma, everything else, it gets its meaning. So this is, I think, an extra information I can give for appreciating that shloka. Then we saw this shloka means, jnana is a yajna. So going back to the topic of this fourth chapter, jnana karma. The jnana is what? The jnana is everything is an yajna. Everything is an offering. Like a havan. Everything is like a homa, like a havan. So we saw examples, right? In the next shloka. What did we see? Dravya yajnas tapo yajnaha yoga yajnas tatha apare swadhyaya. So this is a shloka which is coming. So I'm going ahead. I should not go ahead. So here in the 26th shloka, and even before that in the 25th shloka, we saw the examples of yajnas. What was the yajna we saw in the 25th shloka? Daivameva pare yajnam yoginah pariyupasate brahmagnava pare yajnam yajne naivopajuhvati. This also we saw in the last session. Here, Daivameva pare yajnam yoginah pariyupasate. This Daiva yajna is the yajna for Indradi Devatas, right? Indradi Devatas, this is the Daiva yajna we saw, which is our Havan. We do Havan, Sudarshana Homa, Mrityunjaya Homa, right? All this Havan we do for a certain Devata, for a certain group of benefits. Ishvara, Devata is all Ishvara. We invoke that aspect of Ishvara. We invoke that Devatvam, the Devatvam and that Ishvara for the sake of our well-being, right? So we do that. Now, then also in this shloka which I just read, which is the 25th shloka, there was Brahmagnava pare yajnam. So there's again Brahma Agni yajna, yajnenaivo pajuhyati. In that we have said, you actually offer your own upadhi, your own sense of limitation and everything into the Agni called Brahma. So with knowledge. So there Jnana yajna is again being told. So I'm listing all the yajnas which we have seen so far. Jnana yajna, then Daiva yajna. Then what did we see? We also saw two more yajnas. One is Shrotradin Indriyan Nanye Samyagagneshu Juhvati Shabdadin Vishaya Nanye Indriyagneshu Juhvati. This also we saw. So here the Shrotradi Indriya, Shrotradi Indriya, the ears, eyes and nose and all this Indriya, they're offered into the mind, which is mastered. So mastery of mind is offering these Indriyas, keeping them with the mind, right? So that we saw as another yajna. This is all something we can do. The yajnas which we have in the Shastra, the yajnas which we have in the Veda, like Vajpaya yajna and Ashwamedha yaga and other big yagas, the Somayaji also they say, right? So these yajnas, it's very difficult to do. That doesn't mean they should not push you towards, then I should do that rather than this. People want what is more difficult, what gives you more, what is more tough. Sometimes they want to do that, take that as a challenge. No, I'm giving this comparison to say, in those yajnas, there is so much dravya involved, whose purity is all very questionable. Our own good old ghee, very hard to get pure ghee. Very hard to get samit pure havis. And all those food you have to see, make sure that there's no kida, no insects and all in that. It's a big process. And I remember our Swami Pratikbodanji Maharaj, he said he wanted to do Ati Rudram. So for Ati Rudram, and it is it's like a Rudra, what do you say, it is like a Rudra Yajna only. And but Atirudram involves so much, maybe 100 priests and all that. And it was told some 10 years back, the budget for that yajna was 45 lakhs, which, if you make it in dollars, which will be maybe, I don't know, $60,000 or whatever that. Okay, it's a big amount, right? So that's just for one yajna. And of course, bringing all the priests, and then they should all be taken care of. And more than that, it's hard to get the qualified, priests also for those yajnas. What I'm trying to say is, this is a yajna, you have a choice, but here, what we are talking is a yajna which you can see the effect right away. Bringing all the indriyas and offering to the mind. Then the next yajna we saw, Shabdadin Vishayananye Indriyagnisho, Shabdadi. So once you take the indriyas away from its Vishaya and you ahuti, you offer them to your mind, in the sense you resolve them in the mind, you keep your indriyas with yourself, that is a yajna. See, you only do so much. And this much has been always told, but this itself is a yajna, a homa, equivalent to any other homa, that only Bhagavan Sri Krishna had to tell us. Right? This is not there in any Veda that this is yajna. Although the list is there, this is all Vedoktam. We will see that in the Shloka which is coming, that Bhagavan will say, this is all this yajnas I'm saying, which don't look so popular, they're all has been given in the Veda itself, that Bhagavan himself will say a little later. So the once you take the indriya away, sorry to say that again, I keep repeating, but once you take the indriya away, what happens to the Vishaya? Now here is the new yajna which we spoke last week. The Vishaya, the objects or the situations, those situations you offer to the indriya, we said, and we said it doesn't make sense you offering the Vishaya to the indriya while you wanted to take the indriya away from the Vishaya, right? So we said you offer what is appropriate, the Vishaya which will help you in your growth, satsanga, and good samskara, good habits, all those things you offer to your indriya. Good listening and eating proper food and all those things. Those kind of offerings you can do. Okay, so that is also yajna. Now this much we saw until the last session. Now here, in this session, we'll go to the new shloka. The new shloka is Shloka 27. Now, it is again, the list is continuing. More yajnas are coming. Very interesting yajnas are coming. I hope I can cover a few in this session. Kincha sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma sayyama yogagnau juhvati jnana deepite. This is the next shloka. Apare, others. And what they do? Sarvani indriya karmani. Sarvani indriya karmani. Sarvani is all their karma. See, we saw all the indriyas, now all the karma. Karma, whose karma? Indriya karmas. The karma, the actions, the activities of the senses, all of them, sarvani, and also prana karmani. Prana karmani. And prana is what? Breathing in, breathing out. That is prana in a simple definition, right? So that karma also, prana karmani, that also you offer. But then the question is, where do you offer? What is the Agni? What is the metaphorical Agni where you offer all this karma of the senses, all these activities of the senses, and the life force, prana shakti. The life force we say because when you sleep, even your mind resolves, mind also settles down. But prana, the vital force, life force, that keeps going. You're breathing and breathing in and breathing out, that keeps going to help the heart keep ticking and all those other involuntary actions to keep them going. The breathing happens. The breathing also doesn't say that, I will also, the mind is relaxed, So let me also stop. That doesn't happen. And if it happens, then we cannot, the person cannot get up the next day, right? So the breathing is called life force, prana shakti. So this, where do you offer? That is the question. You offer in Agnau, in an Agni. What is that? Yoga Agnau. In the Agni called yoga. So in the Agni called yoga. Yoga is what? Yoga is being able to be focused. And here, yoga, we'll see, it is the yoga as in the Yoga Shastra. Yoga is here, samadhi, that association, a permanent association with your own self. That is samadhi. So when the person, when the Mahatma leaves his body, we say it is Mahasamadhi. But when we are alive, we can have the samadhi anubhava, but that anubhava can be also in terms of knowledge. And that is samadhi. Samadhi in what? Samadhi in what? Samadhi, and also we can add dhyanam. This is the yoga. Yoga is, as I told you, it is a yoga according to the Yoga Shastra, according to the scriptures, Yoga Sutra, according to the all the sutras or all the formulas given for the sake of understanding yoga. It is a science. It is also a kind of a research, right? That analysis, mimamsa of what is yoga, it has been given. So in that, yoga is also, it is mentioned as samadhi, and yoga is also, it's a lakshana is this. It is it involves samadhi, it involves dhyanam, meditation, and it involves dharanam. Dharanam is retention. Dharanam is retention, and retention of your mind. All these are applying to the mind only. This samadhi is samadhi of the mind. Dhyanam is dhyanam of the mind on some object. Then dharana is holding on. The mind is holding on to something. What is that? It is holding on to Atma. See the first word, the second line, first word is Atma. So Atma Sanyama, your own self. In your Swarupa, this meditator is well established in his Swarupa. And when he is well established in the knowledge of himself in terms of meditation, by the way of meditation, by the way of steadfastness, which is samadhi, and by the way of holding on to the reality mentally, then what happens is all the karma of the indriyas and of the prana, they all can be resolved. But one thing is required. What is that required for the samadhi? That is called jnana deepite. Juhvati jnana deepite. That is the last phrase in this shloka, which is jnana deepite. What about this jnana deepite? So you can see the jnana word, which we are very familiar with, knowledge. So this samadhi, this yoga agni, this fire of yoga, in terms of being able to be steadfastly established in sayama, is being settled in. Atma jnana is possible only with the jnana of the self, right? That jnana. So this jnana, knowledge, is the oil for this agni, or the fuel for this agni. So when you do a havan, don't think the fuel is the ghee which you pour. That is not the only fuel. The havan is already started for you, right? There's already fuel, and the havan, homa is already going on. And what you do, you just add and keep it on. Even if you don't add anything, the fire is on because of the agni, because of the wood and whatnot. So that fuel for this agni, Atma Sanyama Yoga Agni, that fuel is what? Is jnana. The fuel, that agni which is kept deepite, which is kept lit because of knowledge, In that, all your karmas of indriya, of the senses, and of your prana, they all resolve, right? So that is the meaning here. We'll just quickly look at the translation and we'll see what else we can see in the Bhashya very quickly. So the translation is, others offer all the activities of the senses and the organs of action of the senses and the prana. Prana is the organs of action, they're saying, right? Unto the fire of self-mastery, lighted by knowledge. So that is the translation. Because just looking at the Bhashya, what I can tell you is, what I can add is, this knowledge is because of viveka vijnanena ujjvala, viveka vijnanena ujjvala bhavam apadite. So like you have in a lamp at home, you have already the oil in the lamp, right? Tailam, that oil is already there and the lamp is burning. Likewise here, the oil is the oil of knowledge, which is nothing but the oil of discernment. Discernment. You have to, in order to be able to meditate, to be meditative on something, on Atma, say, on the Atma Tattva. And no, in order to be able to meditate, in order to be able to meditate on water, say, which is what is all the ocean is all about, all the waves is all about. You should know that the waves and ocean is all water. That knowledge is required, right? And just because it is salty, you must not think it is not water. That basic knowledge has to be there, right? So that viveka has to be there. Viveka is between what is Atma and what is Anatma. So it's not a viveka and it's not a complete knowledge. It is a growing clarity, but at least you should know what Atma is and what Anatma. Anatma is that which is not Nityam. That which is Mithya. Anatma is that which is dependent on something else for its reality. They don't have their own reality. The snake doesn't have its own reality. The pot does not have its own reality. They're all examples of Anatma Vastu. Atma Vastu illustration would be the clay, which is the gold. Let's take a better example. Gold, right? So gold is a better example. The gold without which no ornaments can exist. That gold is the Atma of all the ornaments. Water is the Atma of the ocean and the thing. So likewise, so that is Atma, Anatma, Viveka. So once you have the Viveka, once you have the discernment, then you can focus on Atma. You can do a dharana, you can do a dhyana, you can do a samadhi of in that reality. Right? So that is the Viveka required. It is like, suppose somebody gives you some rice and accidentally some till. Till is a sesame seeds, dark black sesame seeds. They mix. Now you want to cook rice. So before cooking, so cooking rice is like meditating. So before cooking, before meditation, what you should do, you should separate the till and then you can focus on the rice, cooking rice. Likewise, you have to separate Atma and Atma clearly. Okay? It can be a black till, it can be the till, white till also is there. Even then you have to separate. Okay? It's not about any color here. Even if it's a white till, you have to separate. You cannot cook them together. All right? So that is what I want to bring out of this example. So this is the shloka where two more yajnas, one yajna is given. What is that? All the karmas of Indriya and all the karmas of your prana shakti, the breathing intake and retention of the breathing and everything, you offer into your self, into the Agni called, into the Agni of your mind, your meditative mind. All right? Meditative mind in the sense, being meditative about self. So this I think is good for this shloka. We will go into the next shloka. So the next shloka is shloka 28. So this 28th shloka, again, as I told you, the list continues. Now let us first make sure our list is pakka. Deva Yajna, Daiva Yajna, number one, for the Devatas, regular Havanadi. Then Brahma Yajna or Jnana Yajna we saw. Then we saw Yajna of the Indriyas, then the senses. Then we saw Vishaya Yajna, the situations and objects and whatnot, offering of that we saw. And in this shloka which we just saw, we saw Indriya Karma and Prana Karma Yajna. So 5 yajnas we have seen so far. So in this next one, we'll see. You will be very happy to know. In one shloka, we're going to see another 5 yajnas. Okay. Dravya yajnas tapo yajnaha yoga yajnas tatha pare swadhyaya yajnana yajnascha yatayah samshitavrataha. So beautiful list of 5 different yajnas in one shloka. What are those? Tatha, further, samshitavrataha are those who have made all this vrata their own. Samshitavrataha, those who are living a lifestyle of taking up to these yajnas, which can be all of us actually, right? Over time. So that samshitavrataha was for those are firm vows. That is, vrata is vow. Vrata Shabda we know. What is that? Our Ekadashi Vratam and Satyanarayana Swami Vratam. Vratam, why we say for that? Because you don't eat the whole day and you eat the prasada when you do the puja in the evening. So that is why that is also Vrata. Varalakshmi Vratam. All these are Vrata because you actually you just focus on what you puja even without eating. So that kind of a Vrata, that kind of focus. Here, what is the focus? Focus on yajna. Everything is an offering. Whatever I do is an offering. But then whatever I do as an offering is it's a general statement. But you should appreciate that in terms of all these different yajnas. So now here, what is the first yajna? Samshita vrataha, apare, others. Yatayaha. Yatayaha is yatna shilaha, the ones who want to put effort. Effort, everyone puts effort, right? You also put effort, I also put effort to do things. But here the effort is to have the yajna buddhi, have the buddhi of offering. Then where is kama, krodha, lobha, moha, all those things which can bother us, which can make us feel hurt and guilt and whatnot. When you have the yajna buddhi, they all relatively resolve also, right? So here, that is the yataya, one who is putting effort in that sense. Now, dravya yajnaha. So here, dravya yajna is danadi, all the dana karma, that is a yajna. It is a yajna. See, because it produces adrishta. Because any yajna, when you offer to the devatas, for example, to do a havan, you are actually materially, you're losing some ghee, you're losing some wood. And modern people, they also say that, it's all some pollution also they say, right? So this is the drishta effect. What you can see is only so much. But the adrishta, every action has got a seen, in our Puja Swamiji's words, seen result and unseen result. The seen result is so much only in the yajna, but there is unseen result in the homa from the devatas, devata prasada. In fact, the Vedas says this dravya which you offer, the ghee and whatnot, this ghee is actually going and making the clouds, bringing the rain. So whatever, bringing not just rain, all the aushadis, all that is nourishing, this ghee is going to bring. So rains are also different types. The rains are not just water; they're the nourishment. So this is all something which we don't see. So that is called adrishta. So here in this shloka, that is unseen means adrishta. Here in this shloka, dravya is there, right? When you do dana, also same. You only see yourself giving. Swamiji, Puja Swamiji says, you only see your bank balance reducing. That is the drishta pala. But adrishta pala is punya and blessings for yourself, your future generation, all those you worry about, which on the areas which you work about, they will all have an impetus. They will all, there will be some kind of a resolution, at least some mental clarity when you take up to this dravya yajna of dana karma. Dravya is dana. So dana can be vastra, dana can be what? Bhojan, dana, and it can be some wealth, dhanam. So these are the different dravya which can be involved. And so that is called dravya yajna. Then tapo yajnaha. So here, dravya yajnaha is there. This means some other people have taken up to dravya yajna. That's what it means. It is another type of yajna, means it is another group of people like kings and merchants and all those wealthy ones, if I can say. So some of them have taken up to this yajna, which is also yajna, as Bhagavan is recognizing. Equivalent yajna. Then tapo yajnaha, there's a tapa word in Sanskrit would mean alochane. Tapa is alochane, means actually tapa is inquiry. And here tapa can be inquiry, but before inquiry, your mind and your ekagrata, there should be some focus in your mind. That is why we say tapas also as trying to be focused on what you want to accomplish in your sadhana. That is a tapaya. So that is also an yajna. In your spiritual practices, whatever you want to accomplish, being not distracted and being focused is also an yajna. Tapa also means swadhyaya yajna, swadhyaya, but that is being listed as a separate yajna in the shloka. Then there is yoga yajna. So tapa means anushtana also, all the anushtanas. Suppose if you have a satina, if you have a anushtana of ekadashi vrata, that is a tapa vrata. Tapo, that is a tapas. The modern way, if you're able to do your profession very focused, if the scientist is able to be very focused, if the doctor, if the engineer is being able to be very focused in his profession, in his service, that is a tapasya. Because when they do that, you always see them having a late lunch or no lunch, or being awake late or getting up early, which is the best way to do it. Getting up early, sleep early and then get up early. So the Brahma Muhurta onwards, their mind is thinking on what they have to do in terms of their service, right? So that is all tapa yajna. Then there's a third one is yoga yajnaha. Others have taken up to yoga yajnaha. So this is all called Bhagavad Samasa. What is a Bhagavad Samasa? Samasa is what? Compound word. Here yoga yajnaha means yesham, whoever, it refers to not the yajna. It refers to those people who have taken up to these yajnas. It refers to the people. As an example, Lamba Karna Anaya. Lamba Karna Anaya. Lamba is big. Karna is ears. This is Karna. And the statement would mean bring the long ear. You don't have a ear separately. You don't take someone's long ear and bring it away. No. Then that means that it refers to the person amongst those people. I want to talk to that person who has a visibly long ear. Just to just to identify, and then just to transact. So what the statement was not about the length of the ear, not just the ear, but the person who possesses that, right? Likewise, here there are the person who have taken up to yoga as a yajna, the person who have taken up to tapa as a yajna, The person who have taken up to Dravya as Yajna. Now here, when we come back to the Yoga Yajna, Yoga is Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi, Asana, Pranayama. Let us start Pranayama, Pratyahara, Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, then Asana, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. 8. All this list is very interesting. As you know that it is starting with Pranayama. So this yoga involves some pranayama also. Pranayama, is, we'll see that. Pranayama is also a part of this yoga yajna. And pranayama is mentioned as a separate yajna little later. See how Bhagavan, whatever might be in your mind is, as I say something, then that comes in your mind. And Bhagavan is formally announcing that is also an yajna in a later shloka. So here, yoga yajna is that one who has taken to pranayama, then pratyahara, then some kind of a prati ahara. Ahara, we know, food. Prati ahara, take yourself away from the food. No, take yourself away from the vishayas of the indriya. That is also, in a way, it's also like a food only. That is pratyahara. You bring your mind back to yourself. This is all part of this yoga. So although this is all listed as a separate yajna previously, now we are graduating. So this yoga yajna would involve all that. In reality, also we take up to different yajnas together only. We don't say I'm going to today practice only this yajna. No, everything we do it all together. So yoga yajna involves pranayama, pratyahara, then asana, sitting nicely, properly, without getting on the floor when you want to do something, when you want to meditation, all that. Asana, then what? The pranayama, pratyahara, then yama, niyama, some do's and don'ts. That is yama, niyama, 5. And then we saw dharana, retention, and dhyana. Dhyana is meditation, and then samadhi is being steadfast in that knowledge. So this is all part of yoga yajna in this shloka. The ones some others have taken up to yoga yajna. Then what is the 2 more? See, 3 yajnas are done in this shloka. 2 more yajnas are remaining. One is Swadhyaya Yajna. So the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnascha, right? So there's 2 yajnas in this word. One is Swadhyaya Yajna. Swadhyaya Yajna is what? Swadhyaya Yajna is, Swadhyaya is always Swadhyaya or Dhyana or study of the Vedas. So Veda study starts with the Shabda of the Vedas. Like how nice when you hear the Rudram, right? Chamakam also is nice. So all these are able to, it's all sounding good to you because they are trained to chant in a certain way for generations. That format has never changed. That way of chanting has been handed over generations after generation. So that Swadhyaya, what you do when you study Veda, they all say you have to, there are some rules. The Vidhi, some rules have to be followed. The person has to take a shower before studying Veda. Here study is Shabda, that because that itself takes a lot of time. It takes several years to just memorize the sounds in the Veda. They may not know the meaning, but just that they're able to say the Veda as is. Because why? Veda has come from Bhagavan's mouth. So Ishvara. So when you say the same way as Ishvara has given it, then in a way you are performing like Ishvara. So you are just you're keeping up the tradition which Ishvara, being an instrument of Ishvara. So that way, this is a very special, although they may not know the meaning, retention of the sound itself, preservance, preserving the sound itself as is with all the tones, all the up and down swaras itself is a great job. So that is Swadhyaya Yajna rules, and the rules are taking shower, and then then when they learn, they always face east, and then they wash their hands and legs before they sit to study. And if they're studying using a book, they don't just put it on the floor, and like we do here. Sometimes just put it on the carpet, right? Carpet is there. So carpet is, you think, like an asan, but on the asan, if it is like an asan, you should not put your feet. So we are putting our feet on the carpet. So which means this book and all, they should be given a separate asana. Veda books and all those, puja books and all that. So that is part of Swadhyaya Yajna. And so that is also yajna. What your take is, that is also an yajna, one more yajna. Then in this shloka, last yajna given is jnana yajna, right? That is our favorite always. But here, the jnana yajna is different. You may say that, is this a repetition from the jnana yajna we saw before, Brahma yajna? So let us rename them as Brahma yajna. Okay, so here jnana yajna is different. What is the jnana yajna here? Here, the jnana yajna is just studying the entire shastra. So once the Veda Adhyayana, Shabda Jnana I told, right? The Shabda Jnana is the knowledge of just the sounds. Then Artha Jnana, knowledge of the meaning. And here Bhagavan Bhashyakara Parijnanam is king. Parijnanam is overall meaning. So he may not be a jnani, he's not a Brahma jnani, but this person is given to the overall knowledge of what the Shastra is trying to, what is the different sections of the Shastra. Like there's a Purva Mimamsa, there's a Uttara Mimamsa. In the sense, the whole Shastra can be understood in terms of the Purva Mimamsa Paksha, in terms of an analysis, the older school. Purva means the one school before, where they don't involve Vedanta. They just say, they are all talking about all the karmas and everything like that. That is Purva Mimamsa. You study that also thoroughly. There are sutras, there are formulas written for those, that kind of an understanding of the Veda by Jaimini. Incidentally, Jaimini is son of Vyasa only. So he has written the Purva Mimamsa. You study that also. Then study Uttara Mimamsa. Vedanta also they study. And because this is all required for proper analysis, for proper comparison, and proper resolution of all the doubts. So that who is taken up to is called a Jnana Yajna. Is taken up to Jnana Yajna. Then as we saw the other words, Yatayaha is some Yatanashilaha, and Samshita Vrataha is, as per the Bhashya, Samyak Shitani Tanukritani. So he has made it his own. These yajnas have become a part of you. These yajnas have become a part of you, and the idea of yajna has become a part of you. How about that? The idea that everything is an yajna, is an offering to Bhagavan, and what I get back is prasada, like the Raksha. Everyone values the Homa Raksha. That prasada, it's a burnt leftover from the Havan, right? But that prasada is more valuable than even the fruits and basma and all that. That is all becomes secondary. The Homa Raksha, that dark, that ashy looking burnt out wood piece, that is more valuable. So look at this bhava, right? This is a great attitude. So likewise, everything is a prasada of Bhagavan. So that yajna buddhi, if this is all, if these slokas all help us to increase our yajna buddhi, and in terms of all these different areas, that is where he is a samshrita vrataha, tanu kritani, tikshni kritani, and sukshmi kritani also you can say. Sukshma kiya hua hai. So it has become so subtle, it has become part of him. It has to become subtle, then it becomes a part of you. If it is in the book, it is in the gross form. If it is subtle, it is in the form, in the form of your mind. So that is the samshita vrataha. So that is about this shloka. So I think we saw. Let's do the translation. So too, there are those who distribute wealth, as we said, those who follow prayerful disciplines, tapaha, those who practice yoga, and those of firm vows and efforts who pursue knowledge. So Swadhyaya is given in the translation of firm vows, or maybe Yataya. So there is as you can see, you can take the meaning of Swadhyaya as Veda Veda Adhyayana, study of Veda, and Jnana as understanding of the Vedas. Now, why I'm trying to say is, there is a Madhusudana Saraswati ji, in this commentary, he is putting the Yatayaha also as an Yajna. He is bringing actually 6 Yajnas in the place of 5 Yajnas, which is given here. But we are going by Shankara Bhashya, which is 5 Yajnas. All right. So this is the translation of this shloka. Then now let's go to the next shloka quickly. Here again, so how many? So you can add how many yajnas? 5 and 5, 10 yajnas, right? 11th yajna. And I will say right away, you're going to see 12 different yajnas. 12. So here's the 11th yajna. 11th yajna is a special yajna on just the pranayama. Very interesting, right? We all have a value for pranayama. Let us look at this yajna. Apane juhvati pranam, prane panam tatha pare, pranayama prana pana gati rudhva, pranayama parayanaha. Apane juhvati pranam. Kechit. Some others. Apane. Apane is what? Apana is the prana vritti. Apana is just the prana which is taken in, which is taken inside. Inside prana. Let us not say taken inside. The prana which is in the bottom. That is apana vayu. Apana prana. And see the prana. What is prana? Prana is nothing but the vayu which is outside. Vayu is outside, right? Vayu is air which is outside. When it comes inside, it is called prana. Okay, as Bhagavan Bhashyakara will say also, it's just this much only. This is prana. It is called air outside. It is called prana inside. But inside also we can categorize that. The inside, once it becomes a vital force, and that force can be the prana shakti or apana shakti. We can again categorize that into 5 categories. Here, that apana is that prana which is taken inside. It goes to the bottom, say, of your lungs or of your system. So here, what he does, he apane pranam juhvati, the pranam, the air which is becoming prana when it comes to your nose, that he is taking inside, niche, is putting it inside, below. What is outside is putting it inside. That is, and he is taking it really deeply inside. That is the apane. In that apana vritti, in that section, you're taking your breathing to that level. You see that, you feel that also. And you expand, your tummy can expand also, and that is taking the prana and offering it to apana. See, yajna, offering, taking from outside to inside. See, Bhagavan is nicely, he's offering, most of the offering is to yourself only. Offering from outside to inside. And then tata juhvati is an offering, taking in only, continuously taking in. That is a yajna. Tata apare prane apanam juhvati. Some others, here some others it says, but it's all the same sadhaka, same person. And what he does, apare prane. Prana is what? It is what is inside. No, apana, what is inside, that you expel, you bring it out continuously. After you take in, giving it out. Continuously giving it out as much as possible. Breathing out, compressing your system, and breathing out, expelling air as much as possible. So that is from the apana you are offering to prana back. Although it is outside you're offering, that is still called prana. It becomes a part of the vayu outside, but still it is coming out. It is a force which is coming out. So it is called the offering of apana from inside to outside. That is also yajna, part of this yajna. Then anye, others they say, but it is all the same person. Prana panagati rudhva. Then you can also hold your breath, right? You can hold your breath. That is a yajna. You can hold in two ways. Rudva is holding. Gati, prana, apana, gati. Gati is, that process of, giving out and taking in. That process you can hold. Rudva, pranayama, parayanaha. Bhavanti. So then he becomes the one who is given to this yajna called pranayama. Pranayama, parayanaha. So how long can you hold? It is as long as you can hold, but it is a practice. You practice this whole thing, cycle it between breathing in, breathing out, holding. Holding, I said two types, right? You can hold after breathing in. That holding you can do. That is called kumbhaka. And that is called kumbhaka, but that is called especially bahi antah kumbhaka. You're breathing in and then holding, which may not be so difficult. The other holding is what? As you can guess, you breathe out completely and then hold. This is all very good for your system. So breathe out completely and then hold for as long as you can, little bit. So pranayama has to be learned from a proper person and then practiced. So we are not giving a lesson in pranayama in this session. We're just giving some idea. You learn it properly. Don't everything needs a guru. Like we saw in the previous shloka, the swadhyaya yajna, the yajna of learning Veda and learning the artha, it all needs a guru. Even this pranayama needs a guru. Without guru, if you practice, we can do that, but we cannot call it pranayama. You have to give some other name for that. All right, so let us all learn everything properly and then practice. So this is all yajna, and so this is what is this shloka about, and there's nothing I can add based on the bhashya. And so remember all these things. It is apana is inside, goes inside to the bottom, and prana is what is brought to the top or out, and kumbhaka, retention, can be two, either after you breathe out or breathe in. So this one who is taken up to this is also doing a yajna, and that yajna is called pranayama parayanaha. That the one who does this kind of yajna is called pranayama parayanaha. All right. So I'm just translating quickly. Those who are committed to the practice of pranayama, stopping the flow of inhalation and exhalation, offer the outgoing breath into the incoming breath and the incoming into the outgoing breath. Sorry for the quick reading, but I think I've said so much, and I think you will have some idea about that thing. Now let us quickly read the next shloka. So next shloka is continuation of the same pranayama yajna. Look how important is this yajna, right? Bhagavan has given 2 shlokas for this. Apare niyataharaha. One more yajna, new yajna is also added. Pranan praneshu juhvati sarvepyete yajna vidah yajna kshapita kalmashaha. Apare, others. Niyata ahara. Ahara is here food. Niyata. Ahara is also the food for the vishaya also you can take, but here niyata ahara is in terms of food, one who has a control, one who has a mastery over eating, which is very important for all of us, right? So that is also yajna, Bhagavan says. And so you combine this yajna along with apare niyatahara. Niyatahara is what? Niyatahara is satvika, that food which is making you feel light after eating, brisk. You feel satisfied at the same time. Your mind is alert. You don't feel like sleeping right after that. It doesn't increase your laziness. That kind of a food. Shuddha. It should be. Shuddha is what? It should be prepared within 2 hours before you eat. Not 4 hours, morning, evening, like that. So that kind of a Shuddhata. Hitatva, Medhyatva. It should be very pleasant. It should not. That doesn't mean that you should only eat something which is not pleasing. They should be very pleasing. Hitatva, Medhyatva. It has got all the Shakti, Prana Shakti in that. All the Shakti, Medhyatva. This is all the one who is able to take all this in a regulated fashion, timely fashion. That is called, he is called Niyata. He is doing an yajna called Niyata Haraha. And Praneshu Jukhvati. Then after that, he is again practicing pranayama. That's what Yete Sarve Api, Pranan Pranajis. In addition to this Niyata Haraha, and whenever there's a desire for overeating and all that, then this person takes up to pranayama and some self-control, and he kind of withdraws from abusing the system in terms of overeating and all that. So this is also an yajna. Sarve. Then the next line is very important. Sarve piyete yajna vidaha. All these 12 yajnas. I don't have time to list. You can. That's an exercise you can try. 12 yajnas. Just from what I said. I've said all these yajnas in this class only. So what does it help in? Yajna kshapita kalmashaha. Kalmasha is all the papa. All the kalmashas are all the papas. All the papas in terms of raga, dvesha, and mada, matsarya, and our own lack of self acceptance, self control, and lack of mastery over ourselves. This is all the different papas, and all those vasanas, desires, which are just based on our likes and dislikes. This is all the papa which can give us janma after janma after janma of different yonis, of different births, starting from an insect onwards to whatnot. So this that is the seed for all this is the papa, that is a kalmasha. This yajna can destroy all those kalmasha. Papa is all gone for the ones who are taken up to these kinds of yajnas. So that is the shloka 30. I think we have to stop here. And the next one, after the destruction of all the papas, what happens? How the Brahma Prapti is going to be talked about. And for the Brahma Prapti, Upaya is a guru. Very important shloka regarding how to approach a guru. That is also coming up, all from Bhagwan's own mouth. So we will continue next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. See you all in my Bhagavatam class, which is starting right now on Zoom.